There is no hire that can do that. There's no one that can tell a billionaire who owns and runs the entire operation, buddy, we're going to do it my way. So there is zero hire that could have been made that would ever have prevented Joe and Kirk Lacob from being meddlesome if that is really what they're about to be. I wrote down what I liked and what the concerns are. Here's what I like about Mike Dunleavy Jr., and I think that you need to like this too. It's continuity. He knows the team. He knows the players. All the chess pieces on the board know him as well. He's been ever present the last 6 seasons with the Golden State Warriors, moving quickly from scout to assistant general manager to president of basketball operations, working hand in hand and usually sitting so close to Bob Myers at games they could have held hands. I mean, the two of them had been working in lockstep for quite a long time. So continuity is one of the biggest missing ingredients from professional sports, in my opinion. This keeps a level of continuity. The man had a 15-year-long NBA career, which I think matters to players. I do think players care about people who can directly relate to them and their careers. And to be totally honest, Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s career as a player saw the heights of being drafted number 3 overall to the depths of, oh no, you're a Golden State Warrior, to, you never really caught on as the player you were drafted to be. So the era or air, I should say, of disappointment was always how he was framed. Like, Dunleavy has seen it all. And I think that Mike Dunleavy will relate to players. He's seen it all. He's a basketball lifer, having been brought up in an NBA family. I think that there is cachet to that. I really do. He, as just someone who has met Mike Dunleavy Jr., I can tell you, for a guy who used to tease Mike Dunleavy Jr. along with Troy Murphy at the same time, where we invented the Dunn-Murphy sisters all those years ago. He's personable. He's friendly and has a lot of qualities of someone that I think you'd want to work with on a daily basis. And you could roll your eyes and say, well, Damon, the general manager shouldn't be based on friendliness. I think when you're stepping into Bob Myers' shoes, it does matter. How you relate to people, how you relate to players, how you relate to big executives, to game night employees and staff, it all matters. And that's what Bob was really good at. I think that Mike Dunleavy Jr. will be good at that stuff too. The details of interpersonal relationships are easy to dismiss, but it's not a dismissible trait. It shouldn't be. How you treat people, how you talk to people, how you communicate with people matters. And I think Dunleavy's going to be good at that. Luxury tax and the cap and rules that have been made to punitively punish the Warriors for their own success and desire to retain the players that they drafted. How good is he at the mechanics of all of it, the bean counting, if you will, of being a general manager? Well, we're about to find out. So that is one of, I think, a legit concern even the biggest Mike Dunleavy Jr. fan in the world would have to have coming into this. But the biggest concern, and one that has been talked about before he was even named in the job, it's something that Larry Krueger and I have talked about when we've been doing our home and homes together, is that Mike Dunleavy Jr. is going to be nothing more than a front for Joe and Kirk Lacob to be the real general managers of the franchise. And that's a legit concern. And if it is a concern of yours and you want to say this is a whopper, if this is a whopper of a concern of yours, it's well-founded. But I will tell you, if you really think that that is who Joe and Kirk Lacob are, what's the answer that would have prevented them from acting like that? Who is the hire they could have made that would have prevented the both of them, father and son Lacob, from being meddlesome, if that's what you want to call it? Who is going to prevent that from happening? Because I can tell you right now, they could have hired Sam Presti And if any of you think that Sam Presti would have actually had any veto power over La Familia Lacob, you're out of your mind. You're really out of your mind. There's nobody. The Masai Ujiri, there's no general manager. If you really think that left to their own devices, Joe Lacob and Kirk Lacob are going to be meddlesome to the point that the general manager has very little voice in any of this, who the hell could they have hired that would have alleviated that concern if it's really a concern of yours? To me, if that is who Joe Lacob and Kirk Lacob prove themselves to be, that is an uncorrectable trait. Who could the Dallas Cowboys have hired as a general manager to have prevented Jerry Jones from acting or being Jerry Jones? There is no hire that can do that. There's no one that can tell a billionaire who owns and runs the entire operation, buddy, we're going to do it my way. So there is zero hire that could have been made that would ever have prevented Joe and Kirk Lacob from being meddlesome if that is really what they're about to be. So as much of you have that whopper of a concern, I'm going to tell you there really was no answer to alleviate that concern if that's what you think Lacob, Team Lacob is all about. I think that they clearly want to be involved up to the point of meddlesome. We're about to find out, I guess. But I think that they want to be involved. But I don't think Joe Lacob is arrogant enough, and the man can come across as arrogant, but he's not arrogant enough to think that he's got all the right answers. I just don't think that's who he is. If he was that arrogant and that bad at running businesses, how come the business that he has chosen to run has become the most successful business in the sport? And for those who want to say that it all just goes back to Steph Curry, in a way you're right, but in a way you're also wrong. Because Steph Curry is obviously the ladder that has helped the Warriors climb to the status that they now enjoy. But that ladder could have been pulled out from Steph Curry in a number of ways by poor ownership, poor support, meddlesome ownership, and it hasn't really happened yet, right? Well, I don't like the James Wiseman draft pick. Well, that's a draft pick that a lot of general managers would have made at the time it was presented. You know, you didn't learn that it didn't fit after you tried to make it fit. And we'll see what happens with Jonathan Kuminga and all the possible trades. I heard that Bradley Beal has been given permission by the Washington Wizards to seek a trade. And a lot of Warriors fans think that there could be a little something there between the Warriors and maybe Bradley Beal in this draft. We'll see what happens. I'm really not expecting anything major to happen. I don't think Kuminga, I don't think Poole, I don't think a trade for Bradley Beal is about to happen. I don't think the Warriors are going to trade up into the lottery. I think the Warriors are going to pick at 19. That's what I think is about to happen. By the way, we got a great week set up. I've already been texting some friends, and I can tell you right now that I do believe Marcus Thompson is going to be joining me here on Damon Bruce Plus next week, and our buddy Nick Friedel as we get ready for the NBA draft, which is Thursday next week. I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am. I hope you are too.